Expectation. What are expectations? Why do people have expectation? Why do we cling to the expectation of something? Well, that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. Now, if you're interested, please watch the video to the end. And this video took me a very long time. Let me get out of narrator mode for a second. This video took me a very long time to set up. I had to do a lot of creative thinking and a lot of, not even just for the video itself, but to put the video together. What is hard to explain, but short answer, I am poor. So when you're poor, you have to be creative. But anyways, I just want that little snippet in. Back to the video. So earlier today, I was sitting down watching TV on the couch like usual, thinking of what I'm gonna do today. I haven't posted a video. I hadn't been doing any writing there's obviously for reasons. I could get into that, but I'll talk about that later. And I just scrolling on YouTube, watching other content creators make videos and watching those content creators on what make their videos popular, because obviously I like watching them and obviously other people like watching them, millions of other people like watching them. So I just did that for a little while till I got hungry, and so I decided I wanted to go and get a light snack, which is when I went to go get some grapes. I went in my fridge, as you can clearly see. I got my grapes. You might not be able to tell, but in between I did a little shimmy dance. Yes, I even recorded myself eating a grape, because who doesn't like watching a guy eat grapes? I like watching guys eat grapes. Anyways, and as I was eating the grape, I decided, hey, why not do some writing on my story? Do some kind of backup narrating type of thing where I come up with a concept for my story and I further ground the foundation for that construct. Currently, I'm writing a more in-depth, hypothesis on my power system and how that works. And I'm going to be introducing this really cool thing later on. And so as I sat down and started to write, of course, I was writing. And then as I was writing, it occurred to me, something popped in my head. Why are there expectations? Why do I have expectations for myself, right? And then I thought, oh, it was simple. I just wanted myself to reach something in life, achieve something. But then I started thinking further on it. Well, if I have expectations for myself because I want to achieve something greater, why do other people have expectations for me? And then it started making me think about the philosophy and the deal behind why other people have expectations for you. And so I thought about it, I pondered about it as I was setting up, getting ready for this video. And it kind of made my mind wandered off into the realistic point of view of why other people have expectations for you. And I've never been the type of guy to really sugarcoat anything. I'm not horrible when it comes to telling people stuff, but I am honest. And oftentimes it can be seen as being brutally honest. But I've never been shied away from taking the back approach when it came to telling people the truth, because their feelings wouldn't be able to contain it. That's never been me. That's never been who I was. And thinking about expectations, I find it very funny that other people can have expectations for you. And you may be thinking, well, why do I find that funny? It's kind of common for people to have expectations for you. People want to see you achieve things. And that's all great and good, and the surface scheme of everything. Oh, people want you to achieve something great in life. That's why they have expectations for you. But then I really thought about it, and I came to a question. Well, if other people have expectations of you, why do people expect you to do things that they've never achieved on their own? And that is a really hard question, a really hard take, because in most circumstances, people have expectations for other people And said person who has the expectation for that person will not or never tries to achieve that same expectation. Some people expect a really smart student to make all A's on their report card, but the same said person who has that expectation gets A's, C's, and D's on their report card, right? So isn't that kind of funny that people expect things of you, but they don't expect themselves to live up to the expectations that they place on you? And I think that's and it's kind of funny that like how it is. And it's even funnier when you think about the fact that that is a societal norm. That is something that is very common in our world. So common. It is as common as you speak the English language common. People, everybody that you'll meet in life will set expectations upon you. Expectations are set upon you the moment that you're brought into this world, right? When you're brought into the world, expectations from friends, family, well, it starts with family, but then it eventually moves off to friends, and then colleagues, and then teachers, and then who knows where it goes next. But expectations are usually set upon us, and it's never really a good feeling ever, honestly, truth be told. And I'm really wondering, because I have expectations of myself. I place expectations on myself for obvious reasons, because I want to see myself achieve something glorious. I want to see myself fulfill my own life the way that I want it to be fulfilled. But why do other people have expectations for me? Why is that? And then it gets further down the rabbit hole, because then you have to start asking yourself, okay, people have expectations of me. But then you look at your sibling or a friend that you have, and people don't have expectations for them. People don't expect them to do a whole lot with their life, right? People don't have that kind of overbearing expectation on the next person, but they have it on you. So why is it that one person is expected to achieve greatness when another person isn't expected to do much at all? And I think that paints the picture that kind into the fact that everyone isn't equal. And so the narrative that expectation automatically divides people. Having expectations on a person automatically places them in a certain category. And generally, when a person has expectations placed on themselves, they're no longer valued as who they are. They're valued as what they can achieve, what they're capable of, what they may bring in the near possible future. And so when a person has expectations on them, it's almost as if that is the only thing keeping them alive. Having expectations placed on you can feel like you're kind to journey into this direction. And that's generally the consensus, because people don't know how to differentiate between what they want and what other people want, when all their lives, everything that they've done has been revolved around what other people want or other people's expectations. And so most people don't recognize that, because what happens is that when a person continues to grow up with expectations placed upon them, the expectations soon kind of into the person's mind, and it kind of its way into a person's brain, to the point where a person no longer realizes that the expectations that they're placing themselves under is now the expectations that people outside of that person wants that person to achieve. And in order to really realize that, you have to calm down and really conversate with yourself and understand what it is that people expect out of you and why they expect it out of you, and then what you expect out of yourselves. And sometimes other people having expectations on you aren't always a bad thing. If someone expects you to do well in life and you also expect yourself to do well in life, and those are just expectations that coincide with each other. But it's the more specific expectations of people expecting you to do good for their own profit that it becomes a bad thing, because people expecting you to do well in order to help them aren't really believing in you. They're believing in what you can bring for them. They believe in your value, not as a person, but more so as a machine, more so as a like profit making almost machine basically. And so this video kind of wants to highlight that you should sit down. You should sit down, maybe grab a pen, paper, pencil. You can grab a couple grapes, something. I'm enjoying my grapes right now. Sit down and then start writing. Talk to yourself, conversate more with yourself. I find it very, it is so comforting to talk to myself, and it feels like it's such a, like, the word I'm looking for, knowledgeable conversation in general, because talking to myself really gives me the opportunity to learn about who I am and what I actually believe in, what my actual thoughts are, how my actual feelings work. Talking to myself gives me that opportunity to do so. And when you talk to yourself and you conversate with yourself about what you expect out of your own life, then you start to realize that maybe what you want out of life isn't what everyone else wanted you to achieve. What you want to achieve in life isn't the same thing that everyone else wants you to achieve. And the moment that you start realizing that what you want to achieve isn't what everyone else wants to achieve, your expectations differ. And then that's where the notion of, well, if people expect me to do this, then why have they never achieved this? And that's a very hard blow to tell any, right? If I was expected, because I was smart, I had good grades, was very athletic, and just all around very knowledgeable, and I was expected to grow up, make a whole bunch of money, be a millionaire by so-and-so age, but then you sit down and you ask that same person or those same people that put that expectation on you, well, why aren't you a millionaire? Let that silence sink in. Why aren't you a millionaire? Why aren't you great at academics or great at sports? Why aren't you great at those things? Why don't you expect yourself to be able to do those same things? And that's where the truth, harsh reality comes from. Because some of the time, people who place expectations on other people at some point or another had those same expectations on them. But those people were too weak to continue through with their expectations. They were too weak to continue to push themselves to pursue and meet their expectations. And either they were too weak or they just wasn't capable. And so when people have children, what happens is that they cut down their expectations onto their newborns in hopes of their child fulfilling their expectations that they could never achieve. And that happens a lot, and it happens very often. And a good amount of the time that really hurts whoever the expectations are placed upon, because that gives the person who has had the expectations placed upon them no room to really live and figure out who they are, right? It gives them no room to really feel free to do anything. What it does is that it hinders your child. It hinders them of what they actually can become. And it hinders them from realizing what they really want in life, all because you couldn't stick through with what you wanted to do with your life. So this is a message to all parents. It is all good and well to have reasonable expectations for your child, but to place your own values on your child, values that you wish that you had accomplished in your life and never was capable of doing, is not okay. Stop that. You're killing your child. You're killing the person that your child could become, all because you have expectations. I'm done. Nice to meet all of you. I'm gonna finish my grades, and I hope to catch you all again. Peace.